Are you like me and you pine for the days of Bionicle? You wish you could walk into the shops, see a brand new set on the shelf, scrape together your pocket money, buy it, go home and build and play? Well man, nowadays I'd take any construction set. Bionicle, Hero Factory, Slicers, hell I'd even take some dang Galador sets. Anything to scratch that construction itch. Well, LEGO doesn't make any construction sets at this point in time, but there is something new. Something close to construction that just came out. Something close to the character and creature building system, otherwise known as CCBS. So let me show you, and let me tell you. Listen again to the tale of the Bionicle. Kinda. This is the set that's going to give us some of those classic Bionicle vibes. This new Ninjago set with some cool looking fancy schmancy armor. Armor that kinda looks like CCBS armor. Well, it turns out, it kinda sorta is CCBS armor. Kinda. I can elaborate on that by first taking you to Niek van Slagmut's Twitter page. Niek is a LEGO designer who's helped make some of the most recent wave of 2022 Ninjago sets. He was tasked with making some new character-focused mechs and constructible characters for Ninjago. Now let me show you some of the really awesome concept sketches and drawings that he did for those. A lot of these revolve around the idea of a modular mech that allows you to swap out armor and other different attachments and things to enhance the build and play experience, which I think is a pretty cool idea. Niek was also able to help with element design, so that this wave of Ninjago would not only stand on its own without any sort of content, but would also be the epitome of Ninjago toys. So that was the main goal for these toys. But other things had to be factored in, like ensuring that this line was able to recruit younger kids into loving Ninjago. So with all this in mind, Niek came up with a concept called SCCBS, obviously meaning System Character and Creature Building System. So he pitched some pieces, pitched some cool ideas, and got the go-ahead from LEGO. And thus, SCCBS was born, built with the idea of allowing kids and adults to add on or take off modular armor and weapons to customize their dragons, mechs, and vehicles. So it's similar to the normal CCBS build system of a sort of bone-like frame and armor shells that attach over the top. But now it's system. So look, if Hero Factory 2.0 and, to a degree, Bionicle G2 gave us the character and creature build system, CCBS, then in a way we're getting a new form of CCBS with this SCCBS. We're in a whole new wave, a whole new generation. This means there's going to be new ways for Bionicle builders to build mocks, and new ways for sets to feel a little bit more like Bionicle. So in a way, Bionicle has returned? Kinda not really at all, its system, but you know, it kinda feels the same. Kinda. Okay, look, Bionicle hasn't returned, but this is kind of the closest thing we can get to that, right? So let's break down what we can see from this SCCBS, and see what it might mean for the future of mocking and construction-style sets as a whole. Now, there has long been talk about a return for construction and how it would work in this modern LEGO world. That is, if LEGO ever wanted to bring it back. And if they did bring it back, it's hard to ignore the fact that the last few waves of Bionicle G2 sets unfortunately didn't do that well, and construction as a whole didn't really seem that appealing in today's market. People just weren't buying it. I know we Bionicle fans were, but just take a look at some of the clearance shelves and your Goodwills and your Targets and things. They weren't doing too hot, unfortunately. So when the topic of Bionicle or Hero Factory returning comes up, there's often the discussion of how much it would appeal to a larger audience rather than just the niche Bionicle market. So can construction and your typical LEGO system bricks and blocks become one and the same, and make that niche market be less of a niche, and maybe even more of a combined market, system and Bionicle living together in the same house? Who knows? So looking at this image that Niek posted, we can see a lot of these classic CCBS parts and pieces have been re-envisioned into new pieces that better integrate pre-existing system parts, as well as these brand new pieces as well. Now, not everything in this sketch actually exists yet, and this is more just sort of like a concept sketch, so that's sort of fair enough. But the broad concept of a sort of frame and bone-like structure with armor shells going over the top, much like CCBS, is very much alive and real. And I like this idea a lot. These parts can easily be integrated into system brick-built models, and a lot of the other pre-existing system pieces, but would also work really well for Bionicle mocks too, and other pre-existing Bionicle pieces. So it's kind of like bridging the gap between these two very different things, and making them one. Now system bricks and Bionicle-style pieces feel a little bit less like distant cousins, and instead feel like one happy family, all living together in happy good times. Which is great. So I put together this rough little sort of work in progress mock here, and I think it's pretty clear to see how perfectly these pieces integrate themselves into both CCBS, Bionicle, and other system parts. It's nice to see how easy it is to put all of these together in one unified mock. I have a lot of friends who mainly just build brick-built system models, and when they look at Bionicle pieces, they get very confused as to how to integrate it into system. And sometimes Bionicle builders can look at that from the other side, finding system pieces just harder to use in their Bionicle stuff. So maybe SCCBS is a nice way to bridge this gap and make it easier for builders of both spectrums to come together and work in unison. World peace. Kinda. So personally, I really like SCCBS. It's brilliant, it's unique, and I think it's the closest thing we're going to get to Bionicle or Construction returning. At least for now. And yeah, sure, it's not the same as original Bionicle. There's no story, there's no characters, there's no socket or ball style connection pieces, but it does allow for some awesome new pieces that work perfectly for your Bionicle mocks. And I think that's nice. I mean, it does also have these mixel joints, which kind of are like the sort of socket and ball system that Bionicle has, but But one important question. Is this a good thing or a bad thing for construction-focused themes returning? If LEGO were to bring back Bionicle or Hero Factory, would it be really heavily system now and kind of just defeat the point? Is this just a nail in the coffin for LEGO wanting to bring back any construction-focused themes? I can't speak for LEGO, so I don't know what their stance is on this or what their plan is in the long term, but it's certainly some interesting food for thought. On the plus side, it is nice to know that if CCBS is paving the way for more construction-style sets in the future, we could well see more mechs, dragons, and vehicles, and see kind of Bionicle-style ideas and characters branch off into unique areas that we simply haven't seen before. Or we won't see that at all, and Ninjago is just the closest thing that we're going to get to that. Who knows? Either way, this is kind of new and exciting territory, and I think these pieces hold really nice potential. So, let's take a look at the set itself now and see what unique stuff is going on. And let's see if this is going to have any bearing on what SCCBS could mean for the future of Construction and Bionicle. If it means anything at all. So I'm going to be looking at set number 71761, Zane's Power Up Mech Evo. Evo? Oh, no. Okay. Not that Evo. Regardless, this is a pretty cool set. So these new SCCBS armor shells look lovely, and I think they really round off these more minimal leg and arm designs. It makes them look really nice from multiple angles, which wasn't always the case with the regular CCBS builds. The set lacks knees or elbows, which is a bit of a shame, but honestly, it's still a decent enough design without them. We do see them adding in articulation to these pieces in NEX concept art, but I imagine this was removed maybe for budget restrictions or stability issues, or it just didn't work. I don't know, I have no idea why they did that. But still, it could have been cool, but ultimately the set doesn't need it, in my opinion. For this being a more simplistic and simple mech, it's decent enough. The colors and designs look nice, and you can still pose it well enough to play with it or just to make it look cool. So since this was marketed mainly towards a younger audience, it's nice to know that this does have elements of a 4+ set, but it also feels gratifying and complex enough for an older audience too. Niek and the rest of the team I think really nailed that in my opinion. It's not like some 4+ sets where there's just, it's just a lot more obvious that you're building outside of your age bracket, and it doesn't really feel as appealing because of it. You don't really see AFOLs freaking out over any kind of complex build techniques or awesome looking sets in a 4+ set, do you? It's just not made for them. But this, in my opinion, works perfectly for both kids and adults, which is great. My favorite thing in this set is the storytelling in the instructions. There's some wonderful illustrations that tell a story as you build. When you finish the first bag of parts, you're left with an armorless mech, and the instructions show the Cobra mechanic fighting Zane, and he's losing the battle. But we realize with bag 2, we can build the armor and the weapons, and then we can finally defeat the Cobra menace. It even shows you some fun details like how the armor will help deflect the attacks of the Cobra mechanic, and it even shows Sensei Wu giving you a flag to finish off the mech, which is a nice little detail.
Now Zane, I know this mech of yours has some very strong armor, but I figured this sick flag might make it look even cooler.
I love these little small details. The fact that the instructions encourage you to play as you build, and it teaches you that creating is its own form of play, is fantastic. You're motivated to keep building, and you're inspired with ideas of how to play during and after the building process. I love this. I think this is very in line with Bionicle too. A big reason people loved Bionicle was the story. It hooked so many people. Seeing storytelling so key in this set and so well integrated in the instructions and everything else is incredible. And I think it's another reason why it really does feel like we're getting just a little small slice of Bionicle returning. Kinda. And I love that the SCCBS armor is modular, so you can easily remove it and customize it to your own liking. I would have adored that as a kid, and I think it's a great concept on this toy now. It's awesome. See, I was really blown away with how this one small set was so packed full of so much creativity, storytelling, as well as just construction and Bionicle goodness. So good job, LEGO. You did good on this one. So while it's not a direct return for Construction or Bionicle or Hero Factory, it's one of the closest things we can get to it, at least at this point in time. And I think it's been done really, really well. So I hope you enjoyed my thoughts on this set, and hopefully we can review more sets with SCCBS pieces in them in the future. Thanks for watching, happy building, and bye for now.